What's good, yo? Lockdown day 37. Two things for you today, guys. First thing let me cover is the Premiership just pushing and pushing and pushing to try and get this league finished. And we know the Belgium, the Dutch, and the French league have cancelled the season. Now, the one thing about the French league that you have to understand is this. It was the government that said that there'll be no more played sports until September. That effectively ended any chance of the French FA trying to come out and make something happen. It was basically taken out of their hands. So here we are, we're in a position where it was the government that made the decision, not the sporting league. So that's no sports at all. Do you remember when I keep saying to you guys, and you know my line, wealth before health? People are just constantly thinking about money instead of the safety of people. So I'm going to hit you with an angle like this. In order to get these games working, you would need to have a TV crew, a camera crew. You would need to have linesmen. You would need to have all these people. Now, whether these people are all tested or not is a different thing altogether. Another thing, what happens if a player gets sick? Whose hands will it be if we have to go down that route where this causes us to make a big, drastic mistake that the FA will regret? Whose shoulders is that going to lie on? Think about it. Nobody wants to think about what can go wrong. They're only trying to think about what can go right. And I said many times, you don't dictate this virus. This virus dictates you. It tells you what you're going to do. It's taken 6 weeks, guys, for us to cut the death rate down by half. From 800, 900, and now we're having 300, 400. So that's progress. Where are we going to be in another 4 weeks, 5 weeks' time? There's a reason why the lockdown's been extended and furlough's been extended. There's a reason for that. The reason is because it is too dangerous for us to go back to normality right now. The government understands it. The police understands it. The army understands it. The NHS understands. And the UK, the population of the UK understands. So why are the FA in a rush to try and get everybody? Because of money. Because of money, guys. They don't care about what's good. I'm not saying they don't care as in, oh, they don't give a damn. But they have a foresight of money before anything else. They're thinking about their pockets and they're thinking about the revenues and they're thinking. But what you have to understand is it takes people to go into those stadiums around the UK and set up everything, and you can't do that work social distancing. This work has to be a collaborative response. And in order to do that, you have to literally get rid of social distancing at a time where we are finding it crucial to keep going with social distancing. So the FA are walking on dangerous ground. And listen, I keep telling people, be careful what you wish for. Yeah, and this is all in the hope that Liverpool get to win their title. This is such a demand, and I would love to hear from Liverpool fans. What do you really think? What do you think? Do you think that this is something worth risking? Yeah? Or do you think that, look, it's too volatile right now, it's too sensitive, we're still in a stage where we're trying to drop the curb and flatten it? And this is too soon to even think about football, because initially we've got to think, as I said yesterday, we have to play throughout the whole of July in order for it to end, and then we can start focusing on the 1st of August on having a 2-week break and then a 2-week pre-season and then start the season in September. I mean, it's an awful rush, but that's the only way that this will work. If you don't play games on the 1st of July, which by the way is in 8 weeks, then this thing is practically over. So I'd love to hear what you guys think. Outside of that, guys, I'd like to talk about Extraction, the new Netflix film starring Chris Hemsworth. What a movie. Now, first of all, I'm going to give this a grade of 8.4 out of 10. I thought this film was very immersive. The cinematography was fantastic. Some of the shots, the camera shots were amazing. There's a scene in the film where they have one take. It's a one-shot take and it goes for about 9 or 10 minutes. Could you imagine? normal films are just done in different small increments of takes. And this film had a 10-minute take where the camera just kept on rolling. It went from a car chase to a fight in the building to an action set piece where they're out on the street fighting. And the choreography and organization to get this one take done perfectly without no mistakes must have been absolutely brilliant to shoot. Director Sam Hargreaves really hits it home here. The film, guys, is violent. It is ultra violent. It's one of the most grueling action flicks, and it does more than enough to suggest that Chris Hemsworth has found a home as an action star, because we've seen him as Thor, but we've seen him in a lot of comedy stuff as well, and we've seen him really change his accent. In this film, he actually gets to use his Australian accent because he's an Australian mercenary. But it's the cat and mouse game that goes on between the protagonist and antagonist and the people who are protecting and try and rescue the boy. Overall, guys, we see a scene at the beginning of the film where he's this Australian mercenary who's lost his young son, his toddler 6-year-old son, and he almost has a death wish. It affects his marriage, and he gets divorced, breaks up from his wife, and it almost affects him. He feels like he's dead inside, and he just is counting down the days. He can't wait for that day until he dies, because he's lost everything in life. And there's a scene where he jumps in the water from a tall mountain, and he just sits on the bottom of the ocean, and he's just wishing, he's just waiting for that day when he does. And that's why he takes on these extraordinary jobs, these dangerous mercenary jobs. And then he meets a boy who gets kidnapped, and his father's in jail, and then he pays a mercenary to go and retrieve his son. But there's all kinds of back and forth, double crossing with the antagonist, and all of that plays out really well. But the key to this film is how it affects Chris Hemsworth's character. It affects him greatly because everything he lost in life, he then finds with this young boy. He starts to talk to this boy, and he starts to form a bond with this kid. And it reminds him of what you have to fight for in life. And he gets this bond in this relationship. And by the end of the film, it's almost like he finds peace because of himself caring for this boy. And the director is very smart in terms of where the film ends. It's ambiguous to the viewer because they made this film as in, yeah, the action hero is supposed to give his life to save this boy. And a lot of people might not be happy with that because he plays such a standout hero in this film. It doesn't sit well with the viewer when he has to give his own life up. Yeah? I mean, you don't want heroes to do that. Heroes have to live to fight another day. And in this film, there's something happens at the ending. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but there's something happens at the ending that makes it ambiguous, and it leaves it to the viewer to make the judgment call. So as a viewer, it's up to you to define whether he has forfeited his life for the right reasons and he's done enough that he can say goodbye to life, or whether he's done enough to redeem himself, to redeem his own love for life and love for family and a reason to keep living on. And it leaves it with you to say, is it enough? Has he done what he needed to do, or should he carry on? Yeah, you check out the film, tell me what you think. But guys, it's explosive. The action scenes are brilliant, and it goes among the Six Underground Ryan Reynolds film. These Netflix films are very good when it comes to action, kind of Michael Bay-ish films. But this one actually has an underlying meaning, an underlying story to really drive the narrative of the main character's loss and his gain in life as well. So I would definitely check that out for you guys. I gave it, as I said, 8.4 out of 10, and I would definitely say for you guys to check this out. The one good thing about it is, you know, Netflix movies have come on and gained so much ground. We know Rome won Academy Awards. It was my film of last year as well. And a lot of people complain because it's nothing to do with Hollywood and this isn't a film that we can go. Well, guess what? We can't go out and watch films at the moment. So something like a format with Netflix is prime for us in order to have entertainment because it's inside of our house. It's a new film. We don't have to worry about licensing because it's done by Netflix. It's paid for by Netflix. And more stars and more top directors are starting to take this format. It is going to be a big change moving forward in terms of how much investment by producers gets put onto these platforms like Amazon Prime, Disney Plus even, and Netflix. So guys, listen, check that film out. It is a fantastic watch, but I really want to know what you guys think about the ending as well. And listen, that's it from me. Hashtag stay home, hashtag with me, peace, and I'm out.